To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Have you ever felt trapped inside your own head, as if your thoughts were enemies conspiring to chain you down? The cycle of negativity, the constant inner voice whispering failure, rejection and fear. It is a prison of the spirit. And yet, I tell you, this prison is not built by the world, but by your own hands. You hold the key, and the key is suffering itself. Do you not see? Your thoughts, your insecurities, your anxieties are not accidents. They are the raw material of your becoming. Nietzsche once wrote, "He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." These words are not warnings to avoid the abyss, but invitations to enter it, to face it, and to transform. The modern man believes his goal is happiness. He is told to seek comfort, to surround himself with pleasures, to eliminate all negativity from his mind. But this is the very root of his weakness. The more he resists his shadows, the more they grow. The more he flees discomfort, the more fragile he becomes. Nietzsche understood what few dare to admit. Suffering is not the enemy. Suffering is the path. Your dark thoughts are not curses to be exorcised, but signals to be read, forces to be harnessed, fires to be transformed into light. Think of your mind as a battlefield. On one side, voices of insecurity, doubt, and pain. On the other, your desire for freedom, strength, and meaning. Most people waste their lives fighting this war badly, trying to silence the darkness by pretending it does not exist. But repression breeds obsession. The more you resist, the stronger the enemy becomes. Nietzsche teaches us that to conquer the battlefield, you must not flee from the shadow. You must embrace it, wrestle it, integrate it. One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. Do you see now the truth hidden in your torment? The chaos of your mind is not a sign of failure, but of potential. Those thoughts you label as negative, those emotions you try to bury, are the very chaos from which your star will be born. But only if you dare to face them. Only if you dare to suffer them consciously, to embrace them as teachers instead of enemies. The herd man, the weak man, avoids the fight. He clings to comfort and hides from his shadows. But the creator, the higher man, steps into the fire willingly. He says to his pain, "You are mine. You will not destroy me. You will build me." Do not waste your life chasing the illusion of a painless existence. You will never find it, and in seeking it, you will lose yourself. The way forward is not to eliminate suffering, but to transform it. The darkness in you is not a wall. It is a doorway. Walk through it. Ask of every tormenting thought, what strength is this demanding of me? What truth is this revealing to me? What part of me must die so that a greater part may be born? From this perspective, your negative thoughts lose their tyranny. They are no longer chains, but signals. They point you toward the places within that demand attention, growth, transformation. The voice that says you are not good enough is not an enemy, but a challenge. Become better. The fear that whispers, you will fail, is not doom, but invitation. Learn, prepare, rise. Every shadow hides a lesson. Every abyss hides a ladder. Every suffering hides a seed of power. This is why Nietzsche urged us to love our fate, amor fati. Not merely to endure what life gives us, but to embrace it as necessary, to welcome every burden as part of our becoming. The negative thoughts that torment you are not mistakes, they are your fate. And if you can learn to love them, to transform them, then nothing can hold you captive. So let this be your first lesson. Stop resisting your shadows. Stop trying to silence the voices in your head. They will not disappear. Instead, face them with open eyes. Listen to what they say, not as truths, but as messages. Ask what they demand of you, and then transform them into fuel for your growth. Because the truth is this: your mind will never be free of darkness, but it can be free of fear. The one who dares to embrace his suffering becomes untouchable. The one who transforms his chaos into strength becomes unstoppable. That is the beginning of freedom, not the absence of pain, but the mastery of it. And if you are ready to begin this path, stay with us. In the next step, we will dive deeper into how the illusion of a painless life has enslaved you and how Nietzsche's wisdom tears that illusion apart. This is not theory, it is your liberation. Welcome to the path of becoming. The world tells you that happiness is the highest good, that the measure of a life is how much pleasure it contains and how little suffering it endures. But this is the great illusion, the poison of modernity. For what is a life without struggle? What is a soul that has never been tested? It is a shallow pond, stagnant and lifeless, reflecting only the surface and never touching the depths. Nietzsche warned against this sickness of comfort, this worship of mediocrity disguised as progress. He saw that a world obsessed with eliminating pain produces not strength, but weakness, not greatness, but smallness. Look at those around you, forever running from discomfort. They chase distraction after distraction, numbing themselves with endless entertainment, endless consumption, endless shallow pleasures. They call this happiness, but their eyes betray them. Their laughter is thin, their joy fragile. They are not free. They are prisoners of their avoidance. The moment true suffering strikes, illness, betrayal, loss, they collapse because their souls have never been trained to endure. This is the consequence of believing in the illusion of a painless life. You build your existence upon sand, and the first storm washes it away. Nietzsche saw this clearly. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. These words are not mere comfort, they are instruction. They demand that you reinterpret suffering, not as accident or punishment, but as the forge of your becoming. Without the storm, you remain untested. Without the burden, you remain weak. Without the wound, you remain shallow. The herd seeks safety. It builds walls around its life, walls of routine, walls of denial, walls of false positivity. But these walls also keep out greatness. They prevent growth. They prevent risk. They prevent transformation. Do you not see? To run from pain is to run from your destiny. To avoid suffering is to avoid yourself. For your negative thoughts, your insecurities, your fears, they are not intruders from outside. They are parts of you calling for attention. They are doors to deeper knowledge, if only you dare to open them. But the herd man, the weak man, refuses to listen. He covers his ears, shouts louder, surrounds himself with distractions, and in doing so, he only feeds the voices he fears. The repressed grows stronger, the avoided grows darker, the denied grows sharper. The more he resists, the more he suffers. Nietzsche understood this paradox. Resistance fuels the very thing you flee. The attempt to eliminate suffering only multiplies it. The attempt to silence the shadow only makes it louder. How then should you live? Not by chasing comfort, not by fleeing pain, but by embracing it. Amor fati, love your fate. Love not only the bright days, but also the dark nights. Love not only your victories, but also your defeats. Love not only the joy, but also the suffering. For all of it is yours. All of it is necessary. All of it is the path of your becoming. To demand a painless life is to demand a life without meaning. To love your fate is to live fully, to live dangerously, to live free. Consider for a moment what happens when you stop resisting your negative thoughts. At first, they appear like enemies, shouting curses, whispering failure, dragging you down. But when you face them directly, when you ask what they mean, their power begins to dissolve. You see that each one is a signal, a teacher in disguise. The thought that says, "You are not enough," reveals a place where you must grow stronger. The thought that says, "You will fail," reveals a place where you must prepare. The thought that says, "You are unworthy," reveals a wound that demands healing. Each shadow hides a truth, and when you embrace it, it ceases to enslave. You, the one who understands this, no longer curses his suffering. He no longer wastes time asking, "Why me?" Instead, he asks, "What now?" He sees in every hardship an opportunity, in every loss a lesson, in every wound a weapon to be sharpened. He becomes untouchable, not because he escapes pain, but because he transforms it. Nietzsche called this the will to power, the ability to take every force, whether joy or suffering, and bend it toward your becoming. It is not the content of life that matters, but the way you use it. The herd fears this truth because it demands courage. It is easier to complain, easier to blame, easier to hide. But comfort is a slow death, and resentment is poison to the soul. The Creator, the higher man, refuses this path. He does not waste his suffering in bitterness. He does not deny his shadows. He welcomes them as necessary companions, and in doing so, he rises above them. Ask yourself honestly, are you still enslaved by the illusion of a painless life? Do you still cling to the hope that one day you will wake and find your doubts, your fears, your anxieties gone forever? If so, you will suffer endlessly, for you are asking for the impossible. But if you can abandon this illusion, if you can accept suffering as law, then you will be free. You will no longer fear the arrival of pain, for you will see it as material, as teacher, as ally. Imagine living this way, no longer hiding from your insecurities, but using them as fuel. No longer fearing your shadows, but walking with them. No longer crushed by suffering, but elevated by it. This is not fantasy. It is the way of strength, the way of creation, the way of freedom. Nietzsche knew that only those who embrace this path can become great, for greatness is always born from fire. So look again at your mind, at the negative thoughts that torment you. They are not your enemies, they are invitations. Each one is a door waiting to be opened. Behind them lies not your destruction, but your transformation. Do not run, step through, and you will discover that what you feared most was never the end of you. It was the beginning of your becoming. Strength is not given to you by chance. It is forged in the furnace of trial. Comfort dulls you, suffering sharpens you. To live only for ease is to choose weakness. To live through pain is to discover your power. Nietzsche knew this with every fiber of his being, for he himself endured a body broken by illness, nights of torment, solitude heavy as stone. And yet out of this darkness came words that still shake the world. His wisdom was not born from comfort, but from pain, transfigured into strength. Consider what happens to the body when it is trained. Muscles grow only when they are torn. Bones harden only when they bear weight. Even your skin thickens when it is wounded and heals again. Growth in nature always follows the same pattern. Struggle, break, repair, strengthen. Why should the soul be any different? The mind too must suffer to grow resilient. The heart must ache to expand. The spirit must fall in order to rise. Nietzsche wrote, "Only great pain is the liberator of the spirit. Without pain, you will never know who you are. And this is the truth hidden in your darkest thoughts. The insecurities that whisper failure, the anxieties that haunt your nights, the shadows that chase you, they are not simply torment. They are trials. They are the weights you must lift if you wish to become strong. Each one pushes you to confront yourself, to see what you are made of, to stretch beyond the limits you thought unbreakable. They do not appear to destroy you. They appear to awaken you. But most people refuse this gift. They run from their pain, curse it, hide from it. They see only cruelty in their suffering, never opportunity. And so they waste it. Their hardship becomes poison instead of power, resentment instead of transformation. They blame fate. They blame others. They blame life itself. But blame does nothing but chain them further. They sink deeper into weakness while the strong rise from the very same fire. The difference lies not in the suffering, but in the will that faces it. Nietzsche spoke often of the will to power, not the shallow desire to control others, but the deeper force within you, the drive to take all of life and shape it into creation. This will does not reject suffering. It consumes it. It transforms it. It says, "Everything that happens to me is mine. Even my pain belongs to me, and I will use it." That is why suffering makes some men collapse and makes others great. For the great man turns every blow into fuel, every wound into wisdom, every defeat into the seat of triumph. Do not think this is mere philosophy. Look at your own life. Remember the moments when you were most broken, the loss, the rejection, the betrayal, the failure. Did they not change you? Did they not force you to grow in ways that comfort never could? Perhaps you hated them, perhaps you resisted, but still they shaped you. And if you had faced them not with resistance, but with acceptance, not with despair, but with will, how much more strength would you carry today? You must understand, the true enemy is not suffering. The true enemy is the belief that suffering is meaningless. When you see pain as only misfortune, you waste it. But when you see it as teacher, you transform it. Nietzsche knew this when he wrote, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." If you can give your pain meaning, then nothing can defeat you. Every wound becomes part of your story. Every shadow becomes a step on your path. Imagine your thoughts as soldiers. Some are bright, filled with confidence and courage. Others are dark, filled with fear and doubt. Most people try to banish the dark soldiers to pretend they do not exist, but they always return stronger, angrier, more insistent. The wise man does not banish them. He takes command. He looks at the fearful thought and says, "You too will serve me." He takes the anxious voice and turns it into vigilance. He takes the doubt and turns it into discipline. In this way, even the darkest forces within him are brought under his will. Nothing is wasted, nothing is rejected, everything is transformed. This is the essence of strength. To turn the forces that would break you into the very forces that build you. To let your suffering carve you into something greater. To embrace the fire not as punishment, but as purification. Nietzsche called this the great health. Not the fragile health of comfort, but the deeper health of a soul that has walked through fire and come out unbroken. Such a soul fears nothing, because it knows it can survive everything. Do not ask for fewer hardships. Ask for more strength. Do not hope for an easier life. Hope for a greater will. Do not pray that your thoughts will be silenced. Pray that you will master them. For it is not the absence of darkness that makes you free. It is the courage to walk within it without losing your light. Think of the abyss. Many fear to look into it, afraid it will consume them. But Nietzsche told us, when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. What does this mean? It means that when you face your suffering directly, when you dare to confront the darkness within, it changes you. It stares back. It shows you who you are, and it demands that you rise. To look into the abyss is terrifying, yes, but it is also the beginning of transformation. The herd will never understand this. They will tell you to avoid negativity, to silence your pain, to chase only what feels good. They will call this wisdom, but it is cowardice, and their lives will remain shallow, fragile, forgettable. But you, if you embrace your suffering, if you wrestle with your shadows, if you claim your pain as your own, you will rise beyond them. You will walk with a strength they cannot imagine, a depth they cannot reach, a freedom they cannot understand. So do not curse your negative thoughts. Do not waste your energy wishing them away. Take them in your hand, hold them up to the light, and demand of them what they mean. They will reveal to you the places you must grow, the truths you must face, the illusions you must kill. And when you do this, when you make suffering your ally, you will discover that nothing can chain you. You will be scarred, yes, but your scars will be crowns. You will be wounded, yes, but your wounds will be weapons. You will be broken, yes, but broken open into greatness. This is the lesson of pain. It is not here to end you. It is here to remake you. And if you dare to let it, you will not emerge smaller but greater, not weaker but stronger, not defeated, but free. For in truth, only those who have suffered deeply can ever live deeply. Only those who have endured darkness can ever create light. And only those who have embraced their pain can ever know their true power. Pain strips away the illusions you build about yourself. In comfort, you can pretend to be strong, pretend to be wise, pretend to be in control. But suffering tears away the mask and leaves you face to face with what you truly are. This is why most people fear it, not because of the pain itself, but because of the truth it reveals. Nietzsche understood this with clarity when he said, "To become who you are, you must endure what you are." The process of becoming is not gentle, it is brutal, for it demands that you look at yourself without disguise. When you wake in the morning filled with anxiety, when your thoughts whisper that you are not enough, when your heart trembles with fear of rejection, these are not random accidents. They are revelations. They show you where your soul is still fragile, where your foundation is still weak. You can cover them with distractions, with false positivity, with the noise of the crowd. But this is deception. The shadows remain, waiting. Only when you face them, when you allow yourself to suffer them consciously, do you begin to see the truth of your own being. There is a strange paradox in this. You grow stronger, not by avoiding your weakness, but by admitting it. The one who denies his fear is ruled by it. The one who faces it directly gains mastery over it. This is why Nietzsche spoke of the necessity of confrontation. One must test oneself again and again. One must be hardened by trials. Without this confrontation, you never know who you are. With it, you begin to carve yourself into shape. Think of the artist standing before a block of marble. At first, it is unshaped, undefined, without form. But every strike of the chisel removes what is unnecessary. The blows are violent. The stone cracks and breaks. And only through this breaking does the figure emerge. You are that block of marble, and pain is the chisel. Each suffering removes part of you that is false, shallow, or weak. It hurts, yes, but it also reveals. Without the blows, the statue of your true self will never appear. This is why Nietzsche spoke of the need to become hard. Not cold, not numb, but resilient, unshakable. Life will strike you again and again. If you are fragile, you will shatter. But if you learn to endure, if you accept the strikes as part of your shaping, you will become something beautiful, something strong. Pain does not hide you from yourself. It shows you to yourself. And once you see clearly, you can choose to become more. The weak soul resists this process. He clings to his illusions, refuses to face his shadows, hides from the mirror of suffering. He fears to look into himself because he knows what he will find: emptiness, fragility, cowardice. And so he lives shallowly, never truly awake, never truly alive. But the strong soul embraces the mirror, even when it horrifies him. He looks into his darkness and says, "This too is mine. I will not run. I will not deny. I will become." Do not underestimate the power of this act. To sit with your thoughts, to listen to your anxiety, to feel your insecurity without fleeing. This is courage, for in doing so, you strip them of their power. They no longer control you because you no longer fear them. They speak, yes, but you listen calmly as one listens to the wind. You hear what they say, you learn from them, and then you move forward. This is mastery. This is freedom. Nietzsche knew that every man carries within him an abyss. Most spend their lives avoiding it, pretending it is not there. But the abyss cannot be denied. It waits. It watches. The only path is to face it. And when you do, something remarkable happens. The abyss reflects you. It shows you not only your fear, but also your potential. It reveals the depths of your strength, the possibility of your transformation. In this way, what once terrified you becomes your greatest teacher. Do not think this path is easy. To confront yourself is the hardest task of all. It is easier to blame others, easier to hide in distractions, easier to pretend. But all such escapes are temporary. In the end, your shadows will always return. The only way forward is through them. The only way out is in. Nietzsche demanded this courage. The courage to stand alone, stripped of illusions, facing the raw truth of existence. This is the beginning of freedom. So look at your suffering differently. Do not see it as cruelty. Do not see it as punishment. See it as revelation. See it as the mirror that shows you what you must know. Each negative thought is a signal. Each anxiety is a doorway. Each fear is a teacher. Do not run from them. Step closer. Listen. Learn. And then act. For in the end, the one who faces himself cannot be broken by the world. He has already seen his own darkness. He has already endured his own abyss. And having endured it, he is free. His strength does not come from avoiding pain, but from using it. His freedom does not come from silencing the shadows, but from listening to them without fear. His greatness does not come from illusion, but from truth. This is what it means to become who you are. Not to hide, not to pretend, not to flee, but to confront, to endure, to transform. Pain is the key, suffering is the path, and truth is the reward. Accept it, and you will rise above the herd, above your shadows, above yourself. For only in the fire of suffering does the true self appear. There are always two ways to face suffering. One path is resentment, the other is transformation. When pain strikes, when the shadows whisper in your ear, you must choose. The weak man clings to bitterness, curses fate, and sinks into complaint. The strong man accepts the same burden and turns it into fuel. The difference between the two is not in what they suffer, but in how they respond. Nietzsche wrote, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." Resentment sees no meaning, only injustice. Transformation creates meaning and grows stronger. The resentful spirit is poisoned by his own thoughts. He repeats them like chains around his mind. Why me? Why always me? Life is unfair. He feeds his pain until it becomes his identity. Soon he does not even know who he is apart from his suffering. He defines himself by wounds, by failures, by the betrayal of others. He becomes a shadow of himself, not because his suffering was too great, but because he refused to use it. Resentment is decay. It rots the soul from within. The transforming spirit takes the same suffering and asks, "What now?" He does not deny his pain, but he refuses to drown in it. He takes the wound as a message, the loss as a lesson, the failure as a test. He bends them to his will and says, "This too will serve me." In this way, nothing is wasted. Even what was meant to break him becomes part of his creation. Transformation is alchemy, the turning of suffering into strength. Think of the fire. Throw wood into it, it burns. Throw stone into it, it blackens. Throw waste into it, it consumes. Fire does not complain about what it receives. It turns all into energy. The strong spirit is like this fire. Whatever life throws at him, insults, defeats, heartbreaks, he consumes them and turns them into power. The resentful spirit is like stagnant water. Whatever enters it rots and poisons it. Which are you, fire or stagnant pool? Nietzsche saw in resentment the true sickness of modern man, the one who cannot act, cannot create, cannot transform. He resents. He envies the strong, hates the free, curses fate. He lives only by complaint, never by creation. But creation is the answer. Creation is always the answer. The one who creates from his pain becomes greater than his pain. The one who transforms his shadows into art, into action, into wisdom, is never a slave to them. Look at your own mind. When negative thoughts arise, "I am not enough, I will fail, I cannot go on." Do you let them become poison, or do you turn them into fire? Do you complain, or do you create? This is your choice every day. The voices will not vanish, but you can decide how to use them. You can let them define you, or you can redefine them. The weak man repeats the voice until it crushes him. The strong man answers the voice. "Yes, I fear. Yes, I doubt. But I will act anyway." In that act, the voice loses its chains. Resentment always looks outward. It blames others, blames fate, blames God, blames life itself. Transformation always looks inward. It says, "This is mine. This pain is mine. This shadow is mine, and I will make it serve me." That is why the strong man is free. because he takes responsibility for even what was forced upon him. He does not choose his suffering, but he chooses its meaning, and in that choice he rises above it. Do not think this path is easy. It demands courage to take pain into your hands and make it your tool. It demands will to say, "This will not kill me. It will make me stronger." But this is the only path to freedom. The other path, resentment, only leads to decay, bitterness, chains. You must choose, and you must choose again and again each time suffering visits you. Ask yourself, what have you done with your pain so far? Have you wasted it in complaint? Have you let it rot into bitterness, or have you used it, even a little, to create something more in yourself? Every scar you carry can be a crown, if you decide it so. Every wound can be a weapon, if you sharpen it. Every fall can be a foundation, if you rise upon it. Nietzsche reminded us that creation is the highest act of the human spirit. But creation is not only the making of art or philosophy, it is also the making of the self. Your suffering is the raw material of this creation. You cannot avoid it. You cannot erase it, but you can shape it. You can take your darkest thoughts and turn them into light, not by denial, but by transformation. So, do not ask for life without suffering. Ask for the strength to transform every suffering into growth. Do not hope for silence of the shadows. Hope instead for mastery over them. Do not pray to escape the abyss. Pray to walk through it and rise greater. For the truth is this: your freedom will never come from avoiding pain. It will come from transforming it. And when you do, resentment will lose all power over you. Bitterness will die. Complaint will vanish. You will stand as fire, burning, consuming, creating. You will not be free of suffering, but you will be greater than it. And that is true strength. That is the path to becoming. History itself is a testimony to this law. All greatness is born from suffering. Every figure who rose above the ordinary, every voice that still echoes across centuries, every creator, every warrior, every thinker, they all drank deeply from the cup of pain. Their brilliance was not in escaping hardship, but in transforming it. Nietzsche himself, sickly, nearly blind, abandoned by friends, living in solitude, knew that his words had weight precisely because they were carved in fire. He understood what others refused to admit. Suffering is not a barrier to greatness. It is its condition. Consider the artist. The world sees only the finished painting, the melody, the words that move hearts. But behind every creation lies despair, struggle, loneliness. The artist often creates not in joy, but in torment. His work is his way of carrying his burden. Without the pain, the depth would be absent. His art would be shallow, lifeless. Suffering gave him vision, gave him authenticity. Nietzsche wrote, "Out of life's school of war, what does not kill me makes me stronger." This was not just a phrase, it was the pattern of every creator he admired. Look too at the warrior. His courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it through trial. He has faced wounds, betrayal, loss. The blood on his hands is not only from others, but from his own pain endured. And it is precisely this that makes him unshakable. He has already endured death many times, so he no longer fears it. The battlefield becomes his teacher, the struggle his temple. What destroys the coward elevates the warrior. Even in nature, the same law rules. The mountain is shaped by eruption, by fire, by collapse. The river is carved through stone only by relentless pressure. The pearl is born from irritation, the diamond from crushing force. Nothing beautiful, nothing strong, nothing lasting is ever created without suffering. Life itself declares this truth again and again. To deny it is to deny existence itself. But modern man does deny it. He thinks he can build a paradise of comfort, a world without struggle. He surrounds himself with soft pillows, with pills to numb every pain, with distractions to silence every thought. And yet, despite all his efforts, suffering returns. It returns in illness, in loss, in anxiety, in the shadows of his own mind. For no matter how much he runs, he cannot escape the law of existence. And because he has never learned to endure, he collapses at the first true storm. He calls life cruel, when in reality it is his own weakness that is unbearable. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He warned against the herd morality, the culture of comfort, the slow death of ease. He demanded instead the path of challenge, of trial, of risk. Live dangerously, he wrote. This was not an invitation to recklessness, but to greatness. For only by seeking struggle can one become strong. Only by accepting pain can one create meaning. Only by embracing suffering can one rise beyond the herd. Think of your own life. Were not your greatest moments born out of hardship? Was it not pain that forced you to grow? Remember the rejection that taught you resilience, the loss that deepened your love, the failure that sharpened your focus. Comfort never gave you such gifts. Comfort left you unchanged, but suffering carved you, refined you, expanded you. Every scar you carry is evidence not of defeat, but of survival, and every survival is a seed of greatness. This is why you must reinterpret your suffering. Do not ask, "Why do I suffer?" Ask instead, "What can I become through this?" Every pain has potential hidden within it. Every negative thought that torments you hides a lesson. Your fear shows you where courage is needed. Your insecurity shows you where strength must be built. Your despair shows you where meaning must be created. If you treat them as enemies, you lose their gift. If you treat them as teachers, you transform them. Do not envy those whose lives appear easy. Their ease is weakness disguised. Their joy is shallow, their souls fragile. When storms come, they will be swept away. Envy instead those who have suffered and endured, for they carry a depth that comfort can never give. They know life not only in its light but in its darkness, and because of this, they are unshakable. So take courage. Do not flee from your hardship. Do not curse your pain. See it as the raw material of greatness. Your suffering is the clay, and your will is the sculptor. You can shape it into bitterness, or you can shape it into strength. The choice is always yours. The herd will always choose resentment, always complain, always sink. But you are called to more. You are called to take every wound and turn it into wisdom, every defeat and turn it into determination, every scar and turn it into a symbol of triumph. This is the path of creators, of warriors, of thinkers, of free spirits. And when you walk this path, you will see that suffering is not the end. It is the beginning. It is not your prison, but your liberation. For the one who has embraced pain and transformed it is free from fear. He knows that whatever comes, he can endure. He can create, he can become. And that is the essence of greatness. Look closely at nature and you will see the eternal law. Nothing grows without resistance. The tree grows tall because the wind bends it and forces its roots deeper. The eagle learns to fly because it must push against the weight of the air. The storm carves the mountain. The fire renews the forest. The pressure of the earth creates the diamond. Everywhere struggle is the architect of beauty. And yet man, foolish man, dreams of escaping this law. He seeks a world without pain, without trial, without shadow. But a life without resistance is not life. It is decay. Nietzsche saw this contradiction clearly. He warned that the pursuit of comfort above all else leads to weakness, mediocrity, and forgetfulness of our true nature. Man was not created to be safe, he was created to become, and becoming demands struggle. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star, he wrote. That chaos is not an enemy, it is the force of nature inside you, the storm of thoughts, fears, and doubts that can either destroy you or create you. When negative thoughts rise in your mind, I am not enough. I will fail. I am broken. They are not signs of doom. They are the wind testing your roots. They are the storm sharpening your edges. If you resist them, you remain weak. If you avoid them, you remain shallow. But if you face them, if you endure them, if you use them, then you grow. Each thought becomes a weight you lift, each fear a wave you learn to ride, each shadow a doorway into greater strength. The herd does not understand this. They see pain as misfortune, suffering as punishment, struggle as injustice. They live in fear of the natural law, pretending they can hide from it behind walls of distraction and comfort. But nature does not bend to their illusions. The storm always comes, and when it does, they collapse, because they never grew roots. Their shallow soil cannot hold them. Their fragile spirits cannot endure. Do not be like them. Do not live against the law of existence. Align yourself with it. Accept that suffering is not an accident, but a necessity. Do not curse the wind. Lean into it. Do not curse the weight. Lift it. Do not curse the darkness. Walk through it. Every struggle you embrace makes you stronger. Every resistance you accept makes you deeper. Every suffering you endure makes you freer. Think of the lion. He does not become king of the savannah by resting in the sun. He becomes king because he hunts, because he fights, because every day demands survival. His strength is not given, it is tested. Without hunger, without danger, without struggle, there would be no lion, only a weak beast doomed to extinction. So it is with you. Without trial, you cannot become yourself. Without suffering, you cannot awaken your true strength. The herd dreams of paradise, a place of endless comfort, where there is no fear, no pain, no loss. But paradise would be a prison. Without danger, courage disappears. Without failure, growth disappears. Without death, life itself loses meaning. A painless world is not heaven, it is emptiness. Only in struggle does life have value. Only in suffering does joy have depth. Only in resistance does existence become real. This is why Nietzsche told us to live dangerously, not to seek destruction, but to seek resistance. To walk where others fear, to face what others avoid, to choose the harder path because it makes you greater. The herd calls this madness. But what is madness except refusing the mediocrity of the crowd? What is madness except daring to live as nature demands? Reflect on your own life. Remember the times when you felt most alive. Were they not moments of trial? The exam you feared but conquered. The challenge you thought impossible but overcame. The loss that nearly broke you but taught you depth. These moments burned, yes, but they also awakened you. In them you discovered your strength, your courage, your will. Without them, you would still be asleep. So stop asking for ease, stop dreaming of comfort, stop begging for life to spare you. Life will never spare you. The storm will come, the fire will burn, the darkness will fall. But this is not tragedy, it is opportunity. The question is not whether you will suffer, you will. The question is whether you will use it. Will you let it break you, or will you let it make you? Say to yourself, I will not curse my suffering. I will not flee my shadows. I will not resist the weight of existence. I will carry it, and in carrying it, I will become. This is not resignation. This is power. For the one who accepts resistance as law is never defeated. He may fall, but he rises. He may bleed, but he learns. He may suffer, but he transforms. And in transformation lies freedom. Do you see now? Life is not against you. Life is training you. Every pain is a lesson. Every doubt is a challenge. Every shadow is a test. Accept them, embrace them, use them. For in doing so, you align yourself with the eternal law. Growth through struggle, depth through suffering, greatness through resistance. And when you live by this law, you will no longer fear the storm. You will welcome it, for you will know that each storm is another step toward your becoming. The time comes when you must stop hiding from your pain and begin to embrace it with full awareness. Most people suffer blindly, like animals caught in a trap, writhing, cursing, waiting for someone to free them. But the higher spirit suffers differently. He suffers with eyes open. He chooses his pain. He does not wait for fate to strike him. He walks into the fire willingly, knowing it will shape him. Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Chaos will not vanish from your soul. It is yours to master. The weak always run from suffering. They seek to silence their thoughts with distractions, to drown their doubts with pleasure, to cover their anxiety with endless noise. But every Escape only strengthens the shadow. What you avoid rules you. What you deny grows in power. This is why most live as slaves to their own minds. Not because their thoughts are too strong, but because their courage is too small. You must learn a different path. You must look directly at your suffering and say, "This is mine. I will not waste it." Do not pray for your pain to vanish. Pray instead for the strength to use it. Do not beg for lighter burdens. Demand of yourself a stronger back. This is conscious suffering, no longer a punishment you fear, but a task you embrace. Each wound becomes a lesson. Each fear becomes a challenge. Each doubt becomes fuel. Think of the athlete. He does not grow strong by avoiding strain. He grows strong by seeking it, by embracing the burn in his muscles, by carrying the weight until it becomes part of him. His strength is not given. It is earned through chosen suffering. You must treat your mind and your spirit the same way. When negative thoughts arise, do not run. Face them. Let them speak. Ask them what they mean. Use them as training, as resistance, as weights for your soul. In this way, even your shadows become your teachers. At first, this practice will feel unbearable. To sit with your fear, to listen to your doubt, to let your anxiety breathe without fleeing, this demands courage. But slowly, you will see the shift. What once crushed you will begin to lose its weight. The thoughts will still come, but they will no longer control you. You will become the observer, the master, the one who decides what meaning they will carry. And in this mastery lies freedom. Nietzsche taught us amor fati, the love of fate, not simply to accept what happens, but to embrace it, to say yes, even to suffering, to love not only the sunlight, but also the storm, to love not only the joy, but also the sorrow, to love not only your strength, but also your wounds. This is the ultimate freedom, to look at your pain and say, "I wanted this. I needed this. Without it, I would not become who I must be." Consider the alternative. The herdman flees every discomfort. He hides from his thoughts, numbs his feelings, drowns himself in shallow pleasures. But his avoidance is his prison. He spends his life running from shadows that grow larger each day. His courage atrophies, his will decays, his soul shrinks. He believes he is safe, but he is only weak. And weakness is the true danger. You are called to more. You are called to conscious suffering, to walk into the storm willingly, to hold your head high as the winds strike you, to let the weight press on you and make you stronger. When life wounds you, you will not curse it. You will thank it. When your thoughts torment you, you will not fear them. You will listen. When your fears rise, you will not collapse. You will answer them with action. This is the will to power, to take everything that happens, even pain, and make it yours. This path is not easy. It demands discipline. Each day you must train yourself to face what you once avoided. Sit in silence with your thoughts. Watch them without judgment. Write them, question them, transform them. When your mind whispers, "You cannot do this," answer, "Then I must." When it says, "You will fail," reply, "Failure is my teacher." When it says, "You are weak," respond, "Then let me grow strong." Step by step, thought by thought, you reclaim your power. Do not underestimate the transformation this creates. The man who avoids suffering is fragile, but the man who embraces it consciously becomes unshakable. He does not fear shadows because he has walked among them. He does not fear storms because he has trained in the rain. He does not fear failure because he has turned every fall into a foundation. His strength is not borrowed, it is his own, carved from pain, built through endurance, forged by will. So I tell you, stop wasting your suffering. Stop treating your negative thoughts as enemies. Stop fleeing from the abyss inside you. Step into it. Look at it. Listen to it. And then transform it. Make it serve you. Make it fuel your rise. This is not resignation. It is power. For when you embrace your suffering with awareness, nothing can enslave you. Pain becomes your servant. Shadows become your teachers. Fate itself becomes your ally. And in that moment, you will know true freedom. Not the fragile freedom of comfort, which vanishes at the first storm, but the deep freedom of one who has walked through fire and emerged as flame. You will no longer pray for life to be easy. You will pray to be strong enough for whatever life gives. You will no longer curse your suffering. You will love it because you will know. Without it, you could never become who you are. Suffering is never only endurance, it is transformation. Each pain you face is a death, and each time you rise again, you are reborn. Nietzsche saw this clearly. The self is not something fixed, but something constantly destroyed and recreated through struggle. What must fall shall fall, he declared. In every wound, some old part of you dies, and in that death, a greater part can be born. To suffer is not merely to be broken, it is to be broken open so that a new self may emerge. Think of the seed. Buried in darkness, it must crack open to sprout. If it refuses to break, it rots. But if it accepts the pressure, the tearing, the destruction of its shell, then it rises toward the sun. You are no different. Your suffering is the breaking of your shell. You can resist it, clinging to the old self, and rot in your comfort. Or you can accept the cracking, the tearing, the death of what no longer serves you, and let something new rise. Pain is not your enemy. It is the midwife of your transformation. When negative thoughts appear, when shadows surround you, you often treat them as signs of failure. You think, I should not feel this. I should be free of this by now. But do you not see? These thoughts are not failures. They are thresholds. They are the cracking of the seed, the tearing of the old skin, the death of what is weak in you. If you embrace them, if you endure them consciously, they will pass, and something new will appear in their place. Each cycle of suffering is a cycle of rebirth. Nietzsche spoke of the eternal return, the idea that you must live your life as if you would live it again and again for eternity. At first, this thought terrifies you because you imagine repeating every pain. But what if you could embrace even your suffering so fully that you would say, yes, I choose this again. Yes, I want this too, for it has made me who I am. That is the mark of transformation, not only to endure suffering, but to affirm it, to love it, to say yes to it as necessary for your becoming. The weak soul sees only the death in suffering. He mourns what is lost, clings to the old, and refuses to let go. In his refusal, he remains stagnant, never truly reborn, always half alive. The strong soul sees also the birth hidden in the pain. He does not cling to the old self, but lets it fall. He knows that life is a constant cycle of death and rebirth, and he welcomes it. For him, each suffering is not an end, but a beginning. Look at your scars. Each one tells the story of something you survived, something that once felt like death but became transformation. That betrayal that once tore you apart, did it not make you wiser? That failure that humiliated you, did it not sharpen your will? That loss that emptied you, did it not teach you depth? At the time you thought it was the end, but now you see it was a rebirth. Your scars are not signs of defeat, they are symbols of resurrection. But you must choose this path deliberately. Not every pain transforms. Some only destroy. The difference is in your response. If you resist, if you curse, if you cling to bitterness, then suffering becomes poison. But if you embrace it, if you accept the death of what must fall, if you use the fire to purify rather than consume, then suffering becomes power. The choice is always yours. Nietzsche reminded us that the task of life is not preservation, but creation. You are not here to cling to who you were. You are here to become who you are, and becoming requires death. Each time your shadows rise, each time your doubts attack, each time your fears whisper, you are being given the chance to die to your old self and be reborn stronger. If you waste this chance, you remain small. If you embrace it, you rise. Do not ask for the suffering to stop. Ask for the courage to use it. Do not pray that your shadows vanish. Pray that you learn from them. Do not fear the death of the old. Self. Fear instead the stagnation of never becoming new. Life demands transformation, and transformation demands pain. But the reward is freedom, depth, strength beyond measure. So the next time suffering comes, do not collapse. Do not ask, why me? Say instead, yes, me. This is my fire. This is my breaking. This is my rebirth. Accept the cracking of the seed. Accept the tearing of the shell. Accept the death of the old self. And then rise. Rise not as who you were, but as who you are becoming. For this is the secret hidden in suffering. It is never only destruction. It is creation disguised. It is the hand that breaks you so that you may be remade. And when you understand this, when you embrace it, you will no longer fear pain. You will see it as your companion, your sculptor, your guide. Every suffering will become another resurrection, every shadow another doorway, every death another birth. And in this endless cycle, you will find not despair but greatness. For the one who has died many times and risen again cannot be broken. He is eternal, not because he avoids suffering, but because he is endlessly reborn through it. This is the freedom Nietzsche saw, not a painless life, but a life strong enough to turn every pain into transformation. Now you see the truth that so many spend their lives avoiding. Suffering is not the obstacle to life, it is its very essence. To live is to carry burdens, to confront shadows, to walk through fire. The question has never been how to escape pain, for escape is impossible. The question is always, what will you do with it? Will you collapse into resentment, or will you rise into transformation? Will you curse your fate, or will you embrace it with love? Nietzsche gave us the answer in 2 words that hold the key to freedom. Amor fati, love your fate. To love your fate is to look at everything, your struggles, your doubts, your failures, your wounds, and say, yes, this too is mine. This too I wanted. This too I embrace. It is the opposite of complaint, the opposite of resentment. It is the will to affirm even the hardest trials as necessary steps in your becoming. Imagine looking back on your life and saying not, why did this happen to me? But I would live it all again exactly as it was, for it made me who I am. That is strength. That is freedom. The herd will never understand this. They chase illusions of comfort, dreams of safety, fantasies of a painless world. And because they chase what cannot exist, they suffer twice. Once from the pain itself, and again from the disappointment of their expectations. They are crushed not by life, but by their refusal to accept life as it is. They live as slaves to their own illusions. But you are called to more. You are called to take the weight of existence on your shoulders and carry it willingly. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the higher man, the one who creates meaning instead of waiting for it to be given. This higher man does not curse his suffering. He takes it in his hands and shapes it into strength. He turns wounds into wisdom, shadows into light, burdens into greatness. He does not flee the abyss. He dances upon its edge. Do not think this path is reserved for philosophers, artists, or warriors of legend. It is your path too. Every day you are given the chance to choose. When anxiety rises, you can drown in it, or you can listen to what it demands of you. When doubt whispers you will fail, you can surrender, or you can prepare more deeply and rise above it. When suffering comes, you can collapse, or you can say, this is my test, this is my teacher, this is my fire. Greatness is not in never falling. Greatness is in always rising. Nietzsche knew this when he said, the higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Your suffering is the wind that will teach you to fly. It will throw you down again and again until you learn how to rise. And when you do, those who avoided pain will never understand your strength. They will see only the flight, not the falls that made it possible. Think of your life as a work of art. Comfort paints with dull colors, shadows of gray, flat and lifeless. Suffering paints with fire, with depth, with contrast. Without it, your canvas remains empty. With it, your canvas becomes alive, filled with scars that shine like gold, filled with darkness that makes the light radiant. To embrace suffering is to embrace creation itself, to become the artist of your own existence. So I say to you, do not waste another day fleeing from what is inevitable. Stop cursing your thoughts. Stop running from your fears. Stop hiding from your shadows. They are not your enemies. They are your materials. Use them. Shape them. Transform them. Each pain you carry can become a stone in the foundation of your strength. Each fear you face can become a spark in the fire of your will. Each shadow you integrate can become a star in the sky of your becoming. And when you live this way, suffering will no longer terrify you. You will no longer fear its arrival, because you will know that every suffering is another chance to rise. You will no longer see yourself as a victim, because you will know that everything serves your growth. You will no longer waste your life in complaint, because you will know that even the hardest pain is part of the masterpiece you are creating. This is the teaching. Life will never be painless, but it can always be meaningful. Your freedom does not lie in avoiding the fire, but in walking through it and emerging as flame. Your greatness does not lie in escaping the abyss, but in learning to dance upon it. Your strength does not lie in silencing the shadows, but in transforming them into allies. So carry this with you. Suffering is not the end. It is the beginning. It is not your prison. It is your path. And when you embrace it fully, when you love your fate, when you take every burden and make it yours, then you will finally become what you were meant to be. Rise, therefore, with your scars as crowns and your wounds as weapons. Rise with your shadows transformed into light. Rise with your pain as proof that you are alive. This is the will to power. This is amor fati. This is freedom. And this is the destiny of those who dare not to flee life, but to embrace it with all its fire. If these words spoke to your spirit, stay with our channel, where together we challenge illusions, confront shadows, and awaken the strength to become. For your suffering is not in vain. It is the key to your greatness, and the time to rise is now.